Hello and welcome back to our English class. My dear students of class 6, today we are going to continue with the same topic that we have discussed. I repeat, we are discussing about adverbs and kinds of adverbs, and that is in chapter 12. I'm sure you all have attended the previous class, but if there is anyone who has missed out our class, the previous class, it's in chapter 12, class 6 grammar English textbook. And you will find that from page number 62 to 68, we have already done half of the lesson and we will go ahead with the rest. But for anyone who have missed out, I'm going to repeat a little bit of what we have done. I will recall back so that it will also help you to understand and get a link between the two classes. And I've already mentioned it, but if there's anyone who is getting confused when I say English, we know we have English 1 and English 2. So this lesson will come under English 2. Some of you will call it as grammar. Anyway, it's correct, okay? So as we call it English 2, grammar or whatever, everything comes under English. That is the reason why I just wrote English here as your subject. Okay, in the previous class, we have discussed about the different kinds of adverbs. We have learned that there are 6 kinds of adverbs. I repeat, we already learned that there are 6 kinds of adverbs, but we have discussed 3. They are adverb of manner, adverb of time, adverb of place. We have discussed those 3. An adverb is a word that gives meaning, that adds meaning to a verb, an adjective, or another adverb, right? An adverb is a word that adds meaning to a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. That is what we have learned. We also learned that an adverb modifies a verb, right? A verb is a word that shows action, that denotes actions. Adjectives are words that describes a noun or a pronoun. And adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Those are some parts of speech which we will not be discussing in detail today because our main focus here today is on adverb. And we have 3 more kinds of adverbs which we have to study in detail. I'm repeating this because you need to learn grammar very well, okay? Grammar is a subject that will help you improve in all your other subjects. If your language is good, we know, especially for English medium institutions, for English medium boards, we know that we have to understand English well, and in order to do that, we have to learn grammar well. Okay? And it will help you in all the other subjects. Once your grammar is good, your language becomes good. Your language becomes good, it will help you to understand, because for mediums, for the schools which has English medium, we know that all our books are written in English and we need to understand English whether we like it or not in order to do well in our studies. The first thing that we are going to discuss about is I'm coming to adverb of frequency or number, okay? Adverb of frequency or number. Repeat, you may not understand what a frequency is, okay? Though you will understand what a number is. Adverb of frequency means it will tell you how often or how frequently an action takes place. I've just given a brief explanation. An adverb of frequency tells us how often or how frequently an action takes place, right? How many times? How many times may not be the right explanation that you will find in your book or on the internet, but when I give you this, because some of you may not understand frequently, some of you will be confused of often, that is why I've given how many times. It answers to the question how often, okay? It is usually placed before the verb. I repeat, it is usually placed before the verb, but not all the time. When I say it is usually, that means it is placed before the verb most of the time, but there will be times when it is not even placed before the verb, but after the verb. Okay, these are some usage of adverbs of frequency or number. Even if you understood it, maybe there will be times which you do not understand, right? Even if you understand it, you will not know where to place it. That is why I've given you some usage of adverb of frequency or number. Let's have a look at the examples together. I called at your office twice. Lily often visits my place. You will see the difference in their place, right? Twice, often. So, called is the verb here. It is placed, I said it is usually placed before the verb, but I said not all the time. So this is the example that I've given you in the first place. You will get to know that there can be even an adverb of frequency behind a verb. That is the reason why I placed this example in the first example. I called at your office twice. Called is the verb, it has come behind, but it is telling you the number of times, the frequency, right? It is telling you how many times he called at his office. It is twice. It is telling you the number. It is also telling you the frequency. Lily often visits my place. When does Lily visit my place? It is very often. Okay? That means she usually visits my place. It is telling you that Mr. Fred rarely comes to the club. I repeat, Mr. Fred rarely comes to the club. Rarely is the adverb of frequency. That means he hardly comes to the club. Okay? He hardly comes to the club. Suzanne frequently goes to visit her teacher. How many times does Suzanne go to visit her teacher? Frequently. That means very often. Okay? Not just once or twice. There are some students who would always want to visit their teacher for their doubts, maybe just to pay a visit to them. But there will be some students, there will be some students who will not want to visit their teachers for so many reasons. We all have different qualities. I do not blame any particular student for those, but I'm just sharing my views. There will be some who will be different from others. They would always want to go and visit their teachers because they like their teachers. And Rocco always stands first in the class. The example, Rocco always stands first in the class. How many times did Rocco get first? Always stands. That means I gave the word stands because it denotes a continuous basis. Not just 1 year that he stood first. It is always. He always stands first. And first denotes a number again, right? Let us just have a quick look at the examples once more. I called at your office twice. Lily often visits my place. Mr. Fred rarely comes to the club. Suzanne frequently goes to visit her teacher. Rocco always stands first in the class. These are the usage of some adverbs of frequency that or number that you can use. Okay, I will also show you some examples. Okay, some more examples of frequency or number. That means since it's very long, I just wrote some more examples of frequency. But when I say frequency, it is adverb of frequency. Okay, you can all look at this. Always, seldom, usually, frequently, never, often, once, sometimes, twice, occasionally, repeatedly, rarely, ever, etc. Why I'm giving you examples after examples? You know why? Because you will have to solve some exercises that are given there in your book. From page number 62 to 68, it is not just explanations. Explanations in your book is very less. That is why I'm making it clear to you. Your work is to do the exercise. Maybe filling the blanks, maybe underline. There are so many things in your textbook. Those are meant for you. It is not for the teachers, okay? There are some students who keep waiting for their teachers, right? They keep waiting for their teachers to give them the answer so that they can by heart it, they can memorize it. I don't want any of my students to be that kind. I don't want any of you to be that kind of student who will wait for their teacher's answer for them to give it so that they can write it down and memorize. That is not real education. That is not real knowledge. You have to understand the explanation and try to solve the answers on your own. And if you cannot, you can always take help from your teachers and your elders again. Your teachers are always willing to help you and correct you, okay? Your teachers are always willing to help you and give the corrections wherever it is necessary. But on your part, as a teacher, we always want our students to give a try on their own. Whether it's correct or wrong, it's okay. You may not learn everything at once, but it is always good to test your knowledge, your ability in any kind of subject, and especially when it comes to grammar. It is very, very important. Okay, in the stories or in the other chapters, you may have to memorize some particular years, dates, names and all. But in grammar, you are not going to do that. You are not going to do that. What you have to do is just listen to your teacher, listen to the explanations, and you are going to get more idea. That is the reason why, if there is anyone who is thinking, why is she giving all these examples if she doesn't want us to memorize? It is for you to understand so that you will know its usage, or you will know their usage to apply it in your own activity, in the activities that are following your explanations. Okay? Let's have a quick look at this once more. Always, I want you to read this after me. Always, seldom, usually, frequently, never, often, once, sometimes, twice, occasionally, repeatedly, rarely, ever. So these are some things that I want you to memorize so that it's going to help you in filling up or in underlining or in any activity that comes. Okay? And then we have just forget about the previous classes. I know you have already understood it, but now we have discussed about frequency again. We have one more to be discussed. Okay, we have one more to be discussed, but before going to that, I want you to be sure if you have understood or not. If you have not, you can quickly have a look at your textbook also, because through your textbook it's going to help you understand it better. Repeat these examples again once after me. Always, seldom, usually, frequently, never, often, once, sometimes, twice, occasionally, repeatedly, rarely, ever, etc. I've given seldom twice, right? Twice also comes under number. So, you know that those are frequency or number. How often? I go to school daily, or maybe I go to my grandparents' house very often. How many times do you go? It's very often. Maybe you lose count of that, right? There are some students who doesn't come to school regularly. The word regularly is also frequency again, okay? There are some students who always do their exams well. Always comes under frequency. There are some students who never pass in their examinations. Never. Maybe for so many reasons, maybe they are sick, maybe they are not that good in their studies. But whatever the reason is, I'm just trying to make you understand what an adverb of frequency means. Okay? And the last point for our class today is adverb of quantity. I repeat, adverbs of quantity or degree. Let me explain to you what is quantity. Okay? Let me explain to you what is quantity. Quantity means the amount of something. I'm sure you have heard of the phrase quality over quantity. I hope you understood that. Quality over quantity. Quality means whether it's good or bad. Some products may be, okay, you may have bought some sweets, some chocolates. It may be very big, or there may be so many packets in a box, right? There might be so many packets in a box, but it might not be very tasty, or it might not be good for health. That is, the quantity is so much, right? But there may be just a small packet of chocolate which is very expensive, maybe which is very small, but it tastes good. It is good for health. That means the quality is there. Instead of quantity. Quantity is small, but quality is good. Some products are very big in their quantity or their size, but they are not good. Some are just small in size, small in their quantity, less, but it's good in quality. So that means the quantity. It tells you how much or how many. Okay. Let us read the definition of adverb of quantity or degree. It tells us how much or to what degree the thing is. Okay, I've just written degree, but you can ignore that. It tells us how much or to what extent or to what degree the thing is. It answers to the question, to what degree. I repeat, it answers to the question, to what degree. So I'm sure you understood that. Let us see the examples for us to understand it better. She treats her servants very badly. Not just badly. How badly does she treat her servants? Very badly. There are some people who treats their servant like their own children, or even more than that. But there are some people who treats their servants badly, right? So very badly. The word very is an adverb of quantity or degree. The next one is Mohan is too careless. Just careless. Careless is an adverb, but how careless is he? It's too careless. Mohan is too careless. His face was extremely red with anger. I repeat, his face is extremely red with anger. Extremely means very much, okay? Not just a little bit, not just a little bit pinkish, but he was extremely red with anger. There are some people who turns red very soon when they are angry, right? There are some people who turns red very soon, so extremely red, not just a little bit, but so much. Because of his anger, his face was turning very red. The headmistress was almost angry. Nearly, okay. She was not angry, but she was almost angry. The word almost is the adverb of degree. The cup is nearly full. Let's look at this again. The cup is nearly full. It's not full, but almost. Nearly and almost are very close to one another, right? So, the word nearly is adverb of quantity or degree. Let's look at the adverb of quantity or degree once more here. Very badly, right? Very is the adverb of quantity. Mohan is too careless. The word too is the adverb of quantity or degree. His face was extremely red with anger. How red? That is extremely red. The headmistress was almost angry. Almost is the adverb of quantity or degree. The cup is nearly full. Nearly is the adverb of quantity or degree. I'm sure you have understood the different kinds here. Let's just have a look at it again, because I really want to make sure that you understand this very well before we go on to the next chapter. Because unless you learn one, grammar is like mathematics. Unless you learn addition and subtraction, we know that you cannot go forward, right? So even the same thing in grammar, the first thing that you have to learn is the parts of speech, right? The parts of speech is what you need to learn, and also the next we have to know the subpoints, the details of the parts of speech. And this is one thing that we are doing. I want you to learn adverb once more. Adverbs are words that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. That is what we learned. And we also know that there are 6 kinds of adverbs, right? There are 6 kinds of adverbs. You have to know that. If you are asked to name them, I'm sure you can learn it by now. What was the first one? Adverb of manner. What is its work? An adverb of manner tells you how an action is taken place, right? An adverb of manner tells you how an action took place. Example, she works very carefully. How does she work? Carefully, that is one. An adverb of time will tell you when an action took place. It will not tell you the time like 6:30 a.m., 7 p.m. and all, as I've already explained, but it will tell you late, early. It is good for a student to wake up early. The word early is the adverb of time there. And the next point that we discussed was adverb of place, right? Adverb of place will tell you where an action took place. It may be upstairs, downstairs, outside, inside. It will not tell you the names of places. Like I told you, the name of places like Zubza, Kohima, right? Medziphema. It will not tell you places like Shamator and all, but it will tell you outside, inside, upstairs, downstairs, and all, okay? And the next one we have just discussed from this class. By now, I'm sure you know about it. Frequency or number is something that we discussed. Quantity or degree, right? Those are the 6 points that we have discussed under the kinds of adverbs, okay? I want you to fill up the blanks that are there. I want you to do the underlinings, because those works are not for your teachers. I'm repeating this again. Those works are not for your teachers, but it is for the students. That is you to do your work and then assess yourself. whether you go to school or not, I want you, even if you are at home and listening, I want you to try filling it. If you don't understand, you can rewind the videos and also listen to it again. And I thank you all for listening. These are for the last time before we stop. You can just have a look at this. Almost, completely, enough, entirely, extremely, fairly, far, hardly, just, much, nearly, quiet, very, scarcely. These are adverbs of frequency or number, okay? And one more thing that we have been keeping is at interrogative adverbs. Those are questions. It is used for asking questions. I'm keeping this one at the last because the rest are all similar in some ways, but you need to understand the interrogative adverbs here, okay? When will they come? It answers to time, okay? How do you catch a bus? Manner. Where is your house? That is place. My house is at, you can mention the name. And how is your mother now? It is the condition. How far is Kohima from Tuansang? That is distance, right? Not all question words are interrogative adverbs. I want you to know that. Example, whose book is this? The word whose is also a question, but it cannot be under interrogative adverb. I'm giving you that example because you cannot use all question words under interrogative adverbs. When it answers to time, how for manner, where for place, how another condition, how far, that is distance. So with this, we come to the end of our class. I believe you have learned something from this, and please do as I have instructed you, that is to complete the exercises in your book. Thank you so much for listening.